And believe me, having trained donkeys has taught me one thing. You can basically throw anything at me, I will handle it. Becoming an entrepreneur was never really anything that I'd consciously decided. Somehow I knew I had it in me. Whenever I had an idea that I believed in, I just went for it and didn't ask for permission. What really excites me about being a tech entrepreneur is that you have this huge possibility to transform the world with a software product, to create a product, software, technology that really benefits people, that frees them from boring, repetitive tasks and lets them focus on being creative, on being human. So currently I'm working on an idea about synthetic data, and one possible path would be to create bias-free data sets to train AI models, and the other path would be to create huge testing data sets for big complex software systems, so we would know how they react and also whether edge cases would bring them down in production. At the end of the Female Founders Program, I would like to have found product market fit, meaning I have a clear idea about the product, I understand the customers, and also the value hypothesis. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot of feedback and working together with the other talented women, and I'm really excited to be there.
Hi everybody, my name is Miia Khan. I'm the CEO and the founder of Eventual. And Eventual is a crowdfunding platform for event generation. The idea for the company came from a very personal need. We wanted to be able to experience more inspiring and interesting content when we go out. And at the same time, we wanted to support the culture and event scene by introducing a new innovation for the industry. And I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, and I've been lucky to have an opportunity to work as an entrepreneur in the fastest growing consultancy in the Nordics, where I worked for 13 years as a partner and a director. I enjoyed every moment of it, and now it's time to create something new, a new journey. And I'm super excited to be on board with the Accelerator program, and looking forward to meet like-minded people and figure out the next steps in this new journey of ours. Fun fact about myself is that I've been a TV presenter in the past. There are other facts that you will find out when we get to meet. And see you guys soon. Bye.
Wonderful. So here we are again, another Wednesday, another 1 o'clock in Germany and 2 o'clock in Finland. So good to be here. So today it's my honor to speak a bit in the beginning. So you've been hearing, I think, a lot from Ram. So I'm Maria Pennanen. I'm a co-founder of AccFM Frankfurt, and so happy that this Female Founders Program took place and that we have all these wonderful female founders in our program. And I can only say that I feel the pain with everyone who is founding a company, since I've been building my Mindclick behavior company for the last half year. So it is fun, but sometimes sleepless nights and a lot of stress. But that's good. So today, just as a small outline of the program that we have. So we're going to spend time in looking at the Myros that you've been doing. And let's talk about that. And each one, I think, will have like 20 minutes to present your case and to look at the details there. And then in the second part, we'll talk about the why. You know, the why are you building what you're building? Why are you doing what you're doing? And there's the video from Simon Sinek. So I'm sure if someone haven't heard about it yet, so we will see it today. And then, you know, I think the purpose of the whole idea is that we will start building our pitch deck, like using Kawasaki and his example and doing that. But before we go to all these serious things and talk about the Myro, how has the week been? How has it been since last Wednesday? Should we start with, from my screen left, I have Hanna.
Yes, so last week when we started with the business model canvas, I was really broad. So I kind of wanted to do everything because I'm deep diving here into circular economy, and it's really a big topic with all the stakeholders you can imagine. So my challenge has really been to, let's say, think about the first step. So what can I do first to get started? I have talked with Anu, Miia, and Karla as well during the week and got really great advice. I really enjoy this power that we have in this group, and also some nice collaborators that also wants to learn about circular economy. So I think we are getting closer.
Very good. Yeah, I think it's sometimes it's difficult to focus when you are, have so many amazing ideas and you just want to do everything. But yes, so with limited resources, we have to focus and try to do something first, and then later you can build the circles around it. So wonderful. And then on my right side on my screen, I have Anu. How has the week been?
It's been really interesting week. We've had a lot of discussions with potential collaborators. So it's been going well. We've been looking at the tech solutions and so on. So I'm hopeful that that this has taken one step further.
Very good. I think, like you say, we are rushing with small steps. A controlled way.
Agreed.
Very good, wonderful. And then Karla, how has the week been for you?
Yeah, well, from the last time that I still had 2 canvases in kind of 2 directions, so I narrowed it down now to 1, and I had a lot of talks with other people to give input. I'm setting up my own Miro board to have more collaborators on there. Yeah, just a lot of discussions, networking to get an input and then refine the idea and validate it.
Very good. I think that's one of the major and important points. Not to build something in your isolation, because it's always good to share your idea and get feedback, because sometimes you might get something that you didn't think about, and also it clarifies a little bit. If you can't explain to other people what you're doing, how can they understand it? So I think I have sometimes also noticed that it's difficult to find when you were working with something so long to try to explain it to someone who actually has no clue. To make it clear that everyone can understand it in a couple of sentences. That's really the target. So Miia, how has the week been for you?
It has been really exciting. Perfect mix of kind of like team related, admin related, and then building partnerships. So we're already kind of like you said, kind of like we're not isolating ourselves, but sharing the idea that we have, and also validating our business idea. So we have had meetings with potential partners and received very, very good feedback, and it seems that we have something great here. So we're just getting more confident by each day, but it's obviously a lot of work, and I think that I get more excited the more we have to do. So it has been a good week.
Excellent. I think it's always important to try to have small enough targets that when you reach something, you can congratulate yourself and say, wow, cool. Because you need to feel success. If you have a huge goal, you get tired before you ever get there. So it's wonderful. It's important to be happy with the small successes that we make. And Ram, how has the week been for you?
So how has the week been for me? I have a new look. New glasses. That's been the highlight of my week, basically. Been a quite busy week. We're working on a few projects. We're still closing some investments. Currently working with Engrave, is a startup from Wave8, building a cold wallet storage, actually the best one in the market with the highest security. We've raised close to 800K already, and probably getting another 100 to 150K. If anyone's interested, definitely get in touch, because the next round will be beginning of 2021, and that will be a VC round. So at the moment, working on that. Hopefully, I will get to work with these wonderful ladies, raising the big bucks later on. So that's what we're here for. And after we look at their as we go through the Miro and the canvases, let's try for each one to define what would be the next steps, because you have different businesses and probably requires different steps moving forward. At the moment, we've all started now getting the canvases in place, but perhaps Mia's already looking with investors. Perhaps Anu will start launching the website and so forth. So we really should now start to define what would be the next steps. But for everybody, we should start also preparing towards the deck, a proper pitch deck, and that will be based on the canvas. So I think now we should start with the canvas. Maria, take it over, and I think they all have the links, and they're all they can all share their screens. So
excellent. So maybe we just go with the clock. So on my left side, maybe Hanna, you will, if you can share your screen and take us from there. Yeah.
So Hanna and I have had a couple of calls during the week, and I think Hanna now. I hope when we go through the canvas, I think you're starting to get more the direction of what is it you want to do. So before you even take us through the canvas, what is it that you decided in doing?
Yes, so I want to empower the consumer to make the best choices when they buy something. So I want that the consumer is the trigger, let's say, or the driving force for circular economy.
I think it would be a good exercise, and maybe you will see yourself, the development while you going through these weeks, is that you try to explain what is it that you're doing with one sentence. So for me, if I understood correctly, Hanna, is that you want to be the platform that the customer has the choice, that they can make choices that are, I don't know, good for the environment, or what is it that you think you do?
Yeah. So I want to start with a community. So I want to start building a community and fine tune, let's say, the scope of the platform. So the first step is to build up a community. Then I can show the 16th of December the traction. I can show, hey, so many people is passionate about this topic, and now we have a clear direction what the platform shall be. So we are focusing on the consumer and waste side of the circular economy. I have been going a little bit back and forth, and I also got really good advice from Anu, because she said that I have to really think about what is my, let's say, unique advantage. Which knowledge is it that I have that the others doesn't have? And I think this was really helpful, because I have deep knowledge in industry. So I already know what is the gaps and where the industry need help. So I don't need to go into that, because this piece of the puzzle I already have. And I also have deep expertise in transformation. And I mean, today is the US election, and we know how the social media has impacted Brexit and the elections in US. And why can't this impact also the trend for circular economy? This was not one sentence, so if I try with one sentence again, so I want to be the trendsetter for circular economy, start a community, and then evolve into a platform.
So maybe for those who are not familiar with the expression, for example, circular economy, you could maybe explain that shortly, and then what is the community that you are hoping to or planning to put together?
Yeah. So the circular economy will transfer the take, make, waste linear economy. So you take, let's say, a virgin resource, you make something out of it, and then you throw it out. We have now a big push with the EU Green Deal. So we talked about the good problem, and we have this urgency, popular and mandatory. And for this problem, actually, we have all three fulfilling. We are getting increasing regulations from EU on the Green Deal on circular economy. And the platform is there because I looked into the hurdles. So what is the hurdles? Why is it not developing faster? It's actually culture. So it says the interest and awareness of consumer and hesitant company culture. So companies doesn't know when is the right time to switch. So when should I invest, now or in 10 years? I mean, I still need to survive my daily operation. So when is the best time, let's say, to switch? And I can also hear in this call, because you also ask what is circular economy. So it's still a niche concept, and there is really a lot of knowledge. There is a lot of things. And the more I learn, the more I realize how much there already is. But this is still among a niche and sustainable development professionals. So this is why the community makes sense as awareness to create, let's say, the push, because it's very easy to translate from this niche discussion into what does it mean to a common citizens, and it's easy also now to, let's say, look which segments should we work on, what is the target group, because you just look into the Green Deal and the regulations that are coming, and then you can figure out which businesses needs to transform much faster, which businesses or segments are getting grants. So this is all things where I was completely lost last week. So we are not yet completely there, but I think we are getting closer.
So Hanna, when you say that you're building, and please others also, you can ask questions or comment or clarifying things. So when you talk about the community, so when I'm looking at these, I'm making an assumption that what you mean is that you're starting first with these early adopters that you have listed here on the right side. So is it more, because in the beginning you were talking about consumers, but then you talk about businesses. So what is it really, who are you aiming this, and who is first going to be? Because you need to focus, yeah?
So the community is really in the first, because I notice now also in the last 2 weeks that there is a lot of interest, lot of knowledge around about circular economy. So I'm not completely 100% sure with whom I address with this community, but I want to start the discussion. So I want to create this community and make this like Karla is doing. She says she's talking to people and finding out things. So I'm doing this more or structured. So
are you, Hanna, are you connecting businesses with consumers, or are you connecting businesses with each other? Because I think it's also important to understand what is your target group.
So I want to influence a consumer to set a trend that impacts businesses. So I want
is
that
it
the
that you are,
consumers.
so are you helping, because in the beginning you said that you want to help consumers to make better decisions, or consumers to make who want to have this kind of green footprint or whatever we call it, to help them that they can make right kind of decisions. So is it that you're helping corporates to to communicate or to do or to produce things in a way that is helps that then the consumer can choose them because they are doing things that they want to do, or what? Because I think I'm still missing some kind of like a concrete thing what you're doing. This is it's not politics, it's we need to have concrete targets.
It's probably going into the direction of waste. We want to expose waste because waste is hidden and it's something we don't want to deal with. And for circular economy,
do you want to reduce the waste, or you want to make the visual how much waste you produce by doing something or by consuming something?
I want to reuse the waste. So the waste comes a recycled resource, and then buyers can choose more easily. Instead of virgin raw materials, they can choose recycled raw materials.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
As you see, I'm still going around in these different target groups, and I think this is also the issue with circularity, exactly. So where to start, what is it exactly? But the first step would really to understand how can we create this trend instead of being in unsecurity. When will it happen? When do we have to adapt something? How fast is it coming? Let's take control over this trend and really create the trend.
Okay, and when anyone you the others, and any comments or questions you want to ask?
I think what we discussed with Hanna the other day, I think the kind of work still to be done around this is how to make a business out of it. What is it where the money is, so to say. So but I think that Hanna is currently kind of doing the fact finding and looking around the different opportunities around it. So but correct me if I'm incorrect here, Hanna. But
no, you are completely correct. And my original idea was some kind of a marketing agency, and I think that when you start with this community, you can also, let's say, build audiences that could be different for different stakeholders. So this could be, let's say, the monetization of the community, so to say, that you are getting audiences. You can do waste campaigns. So it's the culture, it's the awareness. You are actually creating the consumer trends or influencing, and this would be the second step maybe. So if there is a community, there is traction, and then you can maybe start understand these audiences.
So Hanna, I think so you have defined possible problems, hypothesis about what is the problem, and then you have a solution what you think that you guys can do. I think it's like Anu pointed out, it's very important also to make money, because otherwise it's a very expensive hobby, and many people can't afford it. So where do you think, who do you think is going to pay for it? Like, what is, like, when you have listed here a little bit about the revenue streams, but if we go a little bit, one step before that, is like when you talk about this unique value proposition that you have. So maybe I am a little bit missing the connection, because normally the value you produce and the money where the revenues come, they should be connected.
Yes, I guess this is something I still need to work on, or in the group. So I think we are getting one step, let's say, smaller, but it's not yet small enough. And I think we are really looking into the, let's say, mandatory problem, so the EU Green Deal. And really maybe choose one. So I have in the early adapters, I have maybe still way too many options. So maybe choose one group from the early adapters here on the right that will be affected by the Green Deal, and really deep dive into that.
So in your key metrics at the moment, when you say build consumer community, who are you going to contact? Who will be this community?
I think I will just start a LinkedIn group and see what kind of messages, what kind of topics get traction, and how can I engage, what interests the people. I'm kind of fascinated about this social organization concept, that you actually crowdsource. You use, let's say, the knowledge from the people for your development, and I'm fascinated about this concept, and I think that these social media channels gives this opportunity to try this out without big investment other than time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also one of my, let's say, deep experience areas. So I work now as a community manager, and several projects I did was like bottom up movement. So I start the bottom up movement, and then I have the top down support. This would then be the EU, and this is the two, let's say, big drivers: the bottom up movement and the EU Green Deal. And then get more concrete about how we make business out of this. But I would expect that until the milestone, let's say the demo day, I would have a community running, and I could show this, and I would probably get clearer week for week. So I feel that we are on the right track, but it's not yet where it should be.
And how will this community, once you have, let's say you do have a strong community, how will that influence Pilar and the way you build Pilar being your business?
Yes, so the community helps to understand where to focus and where is concrete gaps. So the community would be, let's say, the prototype of the content for Pilar. So a little bit like A/B testing, you know. So you throw some ideas, and then you look where is the biggest traction, and where the biggest traction is, then you take that into the platform and start from there.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure or clear in the beginning when you said that, but now it starts making more sense, especially the whole crowd part. So in a way, the community, whoever then, based on the cries of the community, whoever joins that circular economy, they already have the consumers lined up and waiting to consume their products. Roughly, this is the idea. A little bit not far from what Miia is doing, right? The community wants to see a particular artist. Everything's there.
Yes,
We just want it now.
yes,
And is this?
that's true.
I was actually, Hanna,
That's
thinking this might be a really stupid comment or something, but these landfills that exist, who owns the garbage that is dumped there? Like, how does it work? Who does it belong to, all this garbage?
Yeah, so there is some legal.
Yeah, I was thinking that like, it would be somehow like a funny idea, like if you're saying that you're building a community, that people would own this garbage, like own your chunk, like, you know, people own piece of forest, that you would be like owning a share of this kind of like landfill, and the community would own this kind of like potential raw material, which then if it's sold, you get revenue for your share. Is it something like
That's really.
completely stupid
That's really.
that we here
No, that's really. Yeah.
we
That sounds.
yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. I was just thinking that since here in Finland, like we recycle bottles, and when we bring the bottles back to the supermarket, we get money for the bottles. Then what if you actually owned a share of a landfill, and everything that goes there, it would be owned by some community, and then when we sell that as a raw material from there to, for instance, companies who can then use it in their manufacturing processes, then that could be seen as a valuable resource.
So now I'm fully energized again. Thank you, Miia. So I think we have been discussing a little bit how we connect the consumer to the waste, and we have been discussing about this legal and illegal landhold, especially in Africa, because there it's really exploding this problem. And on the other hand, we say that in some years Europe will buy all the waste in the complete world, because we transform into the circular. So yeah, great feedback and idea, Miia.
Excellent. I think that's a good place to stop. So I think it So for Hanna to think about this platform, who to engage, and once you set up the LinkedIn group, share with us a bit the information, so that we can then we can also put it to the next newsletter, and put it through our channels, that there's this new community being built. So that's great.
Yes.
Great news.
Yes.
Maybe also when you're thinking of the platform, one way to start would be a landing page where this community could then register. It's like signing a petition form, and then you start collecting the community. But our newsletter goes out in the middle of every month, so always when you want to reach a good audience for everybody, I'm telling, so have prepared a small press release or whatever you need. Hanna, your next task is for the 15th of November to have some sort of community started, and then we'll push it through the newsletter as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Very good. Excellent. So next one I have on my left is Miia. Please share your screen and tell us about your thoughts about your Miro board.
Host disabled attendee screen sharing says here.
Just a second. Now it should work.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's great because we can see the synergies. I think that was the our hope from the beginning, and it seems to be working good, that you can help each other also during the process. It looks like you guys did a lot of work.
Yeah, so basically this is our mirror canvas here. And I don't know, where do you want to start? Like basically we have been define the problem from 3 different aspects. The problem exists for the venues, it exists for the acts, and also people or consumers, if you like.
Maybe zoom it a bit because you have so much text, so it's maybe difficult to read. So zoom a bit on the, fine.
Yeah, so we went through this last time, but kind of like venues are depending on people, and the people would attend the venues if there is interesting content. So it's kind of like both are depending on each other. So we see that this problem is like actually it exists for 3 different audiences or target groups: artists and acts and venues and people. And venues need people, artists, they need gigs or they need events, and people need experiences and culture and get-togethers, especially after this pandemic, we believe.
So maybe also for you, Miia, what is your 1 sentence at the moment? We'll see how it changes over the weeks.
1 sentence.
How to describe your startup,
Yeah, it's crowdfunding platform for event generation. That's how it is. And then we have been discussing a lot our purpose. I was inspired by this Simon Sinek's question, why do we exist? And we exist so that we can enrich in the culture, and we can give the power to the people to influence and the cultural landscape of their own city. So that's in a nutshell who we are. And basically the solution provides all these target audiences a possibility to influence. So the platform is gathering venues and also acts and consumers.
And I think what is always, of course, super fascinating to know. So what is the value add and what is the this an advantage, or the, how to say, the unfair advantage that you have compared to the other players on the market?
Well, the unfair advantage is that our team is very, very experienced from the different domains. So we handle the whole product development ourselves. But then we have marketing and PR knowledge in our team. We also think that the timing can be our unfair advantage, that we have the energy and the we see this as a moment to create something new, because the event industry is really struggling everywhere, not only here in Helsinki. But most of all, we provide an A to Z solution. So we have thought about the whole problem for different aspects, and in our platform, we're able to meet all the needs. And also, I don't know if it can be seen as an unfair advantage, this Finnish grants system. We see that we're quite lucky to be in Helsinki at the moment, where startups are in good hands and we have good public instruments to fund our.
And how is it, Miia? Do you have do you know some famous, DJs or musicians or someone who you could have, to vouch for your platform, or maybe do the first test, through the platform?
Yeah, we have a really good network here, and we just had a meeting with a potential partner who is representing both kind of acts and venues, and the feedback was really great. So that was kind of a potential partner to collaborate exactly from that aspect. And then this week we're meeting others as well. So where our go-to-market strategy is exactly going through the venues, because they have the existing network. So we're building that network here as we speak.
Excellent.
And I don't know, what else do you want to cover?
Yeah, I think like we spoke a little bit with Hanna also. It's always interesting to understand. So like the early adopters, who do you think where is the market going to go, or who is going to be like your target audience, and where are you going to start?
Yeah, so first venues are the first one we're going to start with. And through the venues, people are going to find this platform. So first, maybe the people who are interested in different underground genres are going to be the early adopters, the true fans. But then after that, we see that this is really for everybody. At the moment, the acts and, for instance, artists are really, really struggling because of the COVID situation, and there is a really a big need for some sort of a support network so that the acts can survive also in the future. So we see that this can be very much utilized, can be utilized by artists themselves. So we hope that they find our platform, and we have a pretty good network with acts as well. So we're like planning to partner up with few who will be then the spokespeople for the platform.
And how did you plan, since Anu asked this very vital question from Hanna also, so what is the idea? How are you going to make money? Where does the cash come from?
So first of all, the campaign creation fees. So each and every campaign that is started at our platform costs 10 euros each. That's the commitment fee. But then obviously the ticketing is a big bunch of the revenue stream. So each and every ticket that is sold goes through our platform. And then, of course, when the campaign succeeds and the event will be arranged, then the margin of that successful campaign comes to us. And then eventually also sponsors have their own possibility to create campaigns and sponsor events that are suitable for their profile. So that's basically it. Cool. Very simple.
Yeah. And what is it that like you think is now the biggest challenge, or what is the main task that takes most of the time? Or where are you focusing on?
Well, right now we're building the brand. So we're kind of like, I think that the fight against the time, we're hoping to launch in spring. So we are now in this state of like we soon start to work around the brand and to create the whole visual identity, because we basically have the beta version of the platform ready, but now it requires like the visual elements so that it looks like something. And then we would love to start pitching it for the investors quite early on. So for that, we need the visual elements there. So I think that it's a fight against the time. What is the biggest struggle at the moment?
Okay, Miia, I would say that in your case, would be good to prepare visual milestones. So really your roadmap, what you want to achieve and where you say you want to launch just in spring, what would that require? So I can send you some slides of milestones. It's basically steps and so forth. I know everybody, every entrepreneur I talk to actually is keen on raising investment. But don't forget that the earlier you start raising, the lower your valuation will be. And then it depends how much do you want to give away from your business, because it is your baby. You want to continue?
Yeah, but I think it's always that it's actually important to talk to investors early. So I maybe disagree. I think it's important to talk to investors early because then you get feedback. You know, there's always like then at least you have an idea what is how they view the idea you have of your evaluation. And as we've spoken, I think earlier also about, it's not only about the money, it's also about what else does the angel bring, because especially in the early stages with the business angels, it's very important to try to see that you get, if you have the luxury, that you get also something more than money, that you get money, yes, but also the connections or what else they can bring. So that's really important in the beginning.
And that goes for
Yeah.
this is exactly what we're thinking, that we don't want to give away equity at this stage, because we are so lucky that we're in Helsinki, and we think that we can survive with our own financial investment for now, and then with the public grants that we will most likely now get. We're in the process of waiting with a decision, but by December or mid-December, we're preparing to have few meetings just to get feedback, indeed, and then only after the pilot and when we have some revenue and we can show how the whole platform functions, then we are kind of like actually in the need of investment, but not just yet.
Super cool. Actually, the women beat me here totally, because you just said it all for me. So not definitely what I meant to say is, yes, you can have the talks, but what I wanted to finish with saying, and Miia, you just said it now, is basically have something to show, and then when you have a proof of concept, your valuation can go up immediately, and you don't need to sell so much of the business. By proof of concept could be this pilot, maybe run one campaign, even if it's not visually great or something, maybe just through your closed network, run a campaign, show that it works, and that is already hard evidence for investors to accept the valuation that you're asking.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
we're planning to do that first campaign with selected venues. So we're going to maybe select, let's say, 5 venues that we're now discussing, so that like we get a little bit try out different campaigns.
We'll announce it in our...
So good, wonderful. I think it sounds like you are right on the right track, and as you said, you need to build those relationships also with investors early on, so they can follow you and get to know you.
And it is very valuable feedback indeed. Like all these critical questions are exactly what we need at the moment.
Exactly. Wonderful. Then I have here Anu. Please go ahead.
Sure. Just a second.
Share your screen and I think actually one thing that we were discussing with Ram also earlier, that when you are thinking about who is your key audience, when we were talking about the early adopters, it's I think very helpful also to try to create in your mind and write it down. And what kind of persona is that? Is it a man, woman, old, young? What area, what kind of many economical background? I think even in a Miro, if I remember right, there is like a tool for that, to how to describe your user persona. So I think that's a very helpful tool also to use. So, but now Annie, take it away.
Do you see my Miro or something else?
No, we see your Miro.
Okay, that's great, because it looks a bit strange for me, so I wanted to make sure that you actually see what you're supposed to be seeing.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll just maybe. Is it big enough?
Maybe a bit. Once the area you talk about, maybe just zoom it in a bit.
Okay, that's good. Just want to make sure that everybody sees what I'm doing here. My 2 screens are playing a bit tricks on me for
Very
now.
good. So you're 2 screen person. Very good.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to make sure that everything is looking to as it should for you.
Yeah. Now I think we can read it.
Okay, good. So basically, if I start with my one sentence, what we're doing is we're offering a personalized, flexible insurance to cover people's financial situation when the unfortunate happens. So basically, what does that mean? That means that if people get unemployed, if they get sick, if they get if there is a death in the family or something, how do they survive? And how does that kind of change from the current situation where there are a number of similar insurances available? We're we're allowing people to take control to themselves. How do they want their insurance coverage look like? How do they want to cover themselves so that it fits their kind of needs and not the needs or preferences of the banks who are distributing the insurance, and making that available because it's not available today. The packages are there where you already have pre-defined covers, amounts, prices, everything. So what we're doing is tailor making this whole package for the individual so that they can choose, they can decide for themselves what fits their own personal life situation the best.
Excellent.
Yeah, that was the one sentence plus a longer explanation what we're doing. I think Ram had good questions there. PPI may not be based on the regulation currently in force in most of the countries. They may not require taking a insurance to attach their loan, but in most of the cases, in different jurisdictions, there are a bit variations. But what they are required to do is that if they offer a PPI, they also need to show a comparative product. But currently, in the most kind of markets, there is not a comparative product because this is solely distributed by the banks. So there usually is nothing to give a comparative product to what they're offering. So they're getting a bit easy today, so to say, who are selling this insurance. So we're hopefully we're able to use that as a kind of a bit quirky kind of sales channel, if you will. So we can actually use the competitors as a sales channel because they are required to do that by law in some of the occasions.
Definitely an unfair advantage here.
Yeah, I didn't put it there, but you're right. I should. So we can kind of use that regulation for our advantage. We are. You have asked also that how will we get issuers to give the mandate? We have had a number of discussions going on, and we're hopefully close to finalizing discussions there with 2 providers so that we have all the covers that we need, both on non-life and life insurance sides. But yeah, that's what that is kind of the main issue that we have in a way open at this stage, and we want to make sure that it's the right one that we make. Because it needs to be a company that shares our ideas and values. It can't be one of those who are here to kind of break or pause the disruption of the market. They need to be kind of more or less a bit outside the current providers, so to say, because they prefer the status quo. They don't want to disrupt the market, of course. So we need to get some other type of insurers who want to be involved in disrupting the market, because they would otherwise cannibalize their own market share. Are consumers aware of the insurance? In Finland, particularly, the PPI insurance is quite well known, especially for mortgages. And most of the people have been offered a PPI when they have taken a mortgage in Finland. In the other Nordic countries, it's not so strong, kind of on the mortgage side, but there the kind of market is more on the credit loans, on consumer loans or car loans, depending a bit on the country. But we have quite a good idea how this kind of distribution is taking place in different Nordic countries. So we know how to kind of find the consumers in a country. What is the cost of getting it? I think this is the tricky part. You can go currently to a number of digital providers for standalone life products, or you can go and get a fee for your home insurance. You can get, but not really for this one. So the people can't really go anywhere and check out the price. Most of the banks, if not all of them, they have a tab on their page which is saying, if you're interested in this insurance, let us know and we'll give you an offer. But it's definitely something that it's a side product to your main product, which is the loan always. And when you're taking the main product, you're not so interested in calculating or looking at what does it cost to take the side product. So the people are not maybe so cost conscious when they're taking out the PPIs. And that is maybe the kind of interesting part here, how to raise the cost awareness to the people, that they understand what is the cost when they take it from the lender and what is the comparative cost. Is it similar to death or disability insurance, Ram? You were asking about that.
Yeah.
It includes both those covers typically. The problem today is that there is quite often in the market, there are one or two pre-designed packages, which include, if it's a larger package, it includes, let's say, a life cover, disability cover, unemployment cover, short-term illness and critical illness covers. If it's a kind of smaller package, it includes maybe unemployment and short-term disability or sickness covers. But the problem for the consumer is that you can't choose, really. You quite often can't choose what the amount is that you want to cover. You can't really choose what the covers are, and this is very often down to the fact that the banks and lenders, they want to choose what packages serve their needs, or even worse, it's sometimes decided by the kind of technical capabilities of banks and insurance companies combined together, so that they are only capable of offering one or two pre-designed packages. So what we're trying to here do is to kind of allow people to design their own insurance coverages, including different insurance types. And how is it different from life insurance? If you compare it to standalone life product, it is the biggest kind of difference comes from the fact that it has different consequences, so to say. If it's a life PPI cover, that will pay off your loan, your outstanding amount of your mortgage or credit card or whatever. And if it's a standalone life cover, that covers a pre-designed sum, which is fixed. In the PPI world, also the taxation consequences are differently. That flows indirectly to also your taxes that you pay for your heritage. So what if in case you're kind of inheriting a flat, or is there still the outstanding loan or not? So that has a direct impact to the amount of taxes that you're paying. So PPI is much more, in a way, tax efficient for the insurance coverage side, but then of course you have much more loan-free kind of mortgage, less mortgage to be kind of deducted from your inheritance. This goes to a very technical detail, so maybe I'm not going too much into that side, but so there is definitely a difference in standalone life coverage and PPI life parts.
Okay, very good. If you look at the unique value proposition, I think you answer that a little bit, because I wrote there, why is that an advantage?
Yeah, and I guess the point really is that because the non-lender linked sale of the PPI is not available today, so that's the biggest advantage and unique value proposition that we have in a way for when it comes to the channels. When it comes to the covers, is basically, as I mentioned earlier, I should add here that designing your own insurance package to fit your own needs is the kind of unique value proposition. On the other hand, not just the channel, sales channel.
Very good.
Yeah.
And well, the unfair advantage, I wanted to hear a bit more detail. So, because you say experienced team, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a bit maybe shy on that one originally. So I guess the kind of driving force there is that the team that we have together consists basically of the most experienced people in, I would say, in the minimum in the Nordics, probably even North Europe, to understand the majority of the business done here in the past 15 years or so, from actuarial, risk, pricing, legal, business proposition, market understanding point of view. So there is kind of different functions that we can cover. If you think about an insurance company, what functional resources you need to have. We have a couple of people who can cover most of them, just the two of us, or three with the extended.
This is super important for your deck, for the website, because insurance you want to buy from someone trustworthy.
Yeah.
So super important not to be shy here.
Yeah.
Definitely, and that's why I wrote it. I know it, but I wrote it so you remember when you're building the deck. I think the number one selling point will probably be your CVs, the team behind it. But now we're getting to a few very key important points, and perhaps that's where you should work on the next week towards, like these customers and early adopters. Go ahead, continue. And if Maria, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah.
No, I think what I wanted to, like Ram indicated, I think in the beginning when you're building something that isn't there yet, the only thing you can sell is yourself. Is what you've done, your track record, what you did before, and why would you succeed? Because I think, especially in the eyes of the investor, the biggest risk factor is you. And if you anything else can in a way happen, but if you can convince that you're the one who knows the industry, you've been there, and you have a good team around you, and you know what is missing, then it's about the execution, and then they need to believe, okay, so she has the capabilities, and now she can even execute. So wonderful, let's go for it.
Yeah, good point. I guess the customers, Ram, that you mentioned, our customers are individuals who have taken a loan in a kind of high level. Then it's the question about identifying the point of time and how to identify those customers, how to find them. And this is actually where we're currently working on. So we're basically identifying different search engine optimization channels. We're looking at different ways to find these customers, and that is the work ongoing currently that we're looking into.
We've had a startup building an AI engine into really also reading and understanding natural language within forums and groups on the internet. Because at the end of the day, you need to identify the right people at the right place. It goes further down. Nimrod said it last week. How often do they buy a PPI? So you don't. It's very crucial that you don't miss them, because the next time around. So that's something where you could look at perhaps scraping or digitizing. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I fully agree to that. And we're basically we're just mapping it out now, how to kind of identify those and how to attack the people at the right time and the right moment, so to say. So because it's critical to this insurance can't be given to a consumer much more than when they have taken out the loan, because that increases the insurance risks significantly. So it needs to be tied to a point in time when the people are exactly confident that they have. People don't usually buy apartments or cars if they are not comfortable with their health or their employment situation or something similar. So they usually don't make big commitments unless they are happy about their kind of employment and health situation. So that acts as a kind of risk mitigant for the insurance companies as well. But if this insurance is taken years after the loan, the health or employment situation may have changed a lot. And that drives people for actively finding these insurances, which is usually not the best kind of client for the insurance company, like the person who's buying a house insurance when the house is on fire. So, and I guess then that leaves us to going to the early adopters. And these kind of people, they vary a lot when you look at the different loan type, the different country. And in Finland, PPI is predominantly taken to mortgage loans, and that drives the typical persona a bit to kind of, depending where in Finland you are at. In Helsinki area, the houses are much more expensive. That drives the kind of average age of buying a flat your first time, second time around, a bit higher compared to the maybe elsewhere in Finland where the flat prices are much lower. It could be singles, it could be couples. So yeah, they need to be employed in order to get a mortgage. They need to be employed to get an insurance and so on. So that drives one of the persona kind of features a lot. And that maybe the common topic about that would be that these usually the early adopters for this type of product who would be willing to test something, they need to be digitally aware. They need to be interested in their financial situation. They need to be kind of concerned about their financial well-being.
Yeah, very good. So I think that's actually, it's a good point, Anu. I think what you should do, and Hanna, and I think probably all of you, would be for next week. So let's so think about what is what kind of users, early adopters, would you have, and make it like a real person, like a stereotyped person. What would it be? What sex are they? How old are they? What is their academic background? Where do they live? What kind of music they like, for Miia, what are they married? Do they have children? Do they drive their own car? Are they, I don't know, environmentalists? What is it? Is it the first apartment they're buying? Or, so I think then you get a good idea of, how should you also target the group, and also that that for the investors, when you're doing your deck, that they understand that your market, that whom you are going to sell this product to. So I think for that, it's a very useful exercise.
Yeah, and I'm sure Miia knows it. At the end of the day, it's about your communication strategy. So once you have a really clear, I'm talking still to Anu now, about who's going to buy a PPI, and really clear you made, okay, this is Ram, he's this age, married, and so forth. You also would have an easier way of how to communicate it. When you're building a landing page, your website, what will it say there? The first thing that will make them understand and buy. We're just running a bit short of time, but Anu, also for next week, if you can gather, and then perhaps you already have, but gather some info on the market size, especially the Nordic market, which you're starting to target, just to see a little bit of a business case there. How big is the market? What is the commissions you're taking? A bit of business case there. Sometimes, what I really like about what you're doing is that it's highly scalable, which means you can do it with very little resources, very few resources, and it can be fully automated at the end of the day. You could probably work 1 day a week on it, and it's just a cash cow, because people just go there and buy the insurance. This will be the ideal scenario, obviously.
Absolutely.
So that's for sure, and it should be, because if you do focus only on this, and we talked about it with last week with Nimrod, again, how often do they buy? Probably not very often. and what's the customer acquisition cost. You need to get it down to zero if possible, that you don't have. So that's at the end, if it costs you 50 euros to reach a client, and then the commission's 50 euros, you haven't done much. So
Yeah.
So a little bit on the market size, look at that, all right?
Sure.
Cool. I have to say, I think there's a very, very powerful theme here. I think you are all here to give the power to the people. So I think this is going to be our slogan: power to the people. And
Oh, yes.
I think Karla is also on the same track, if I got it right. So Karla, take it away.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So let's start maybe with my why. So the fundamental belief that technology should advance and benefit us and not hinder people and businesses. So definitely societal benefit and give it back. So the one sentence would be software as a service solution that removes bias from your data to unlock business opportunities. And should I maybe zoom in a little bit more? So you can see that here. The problem that I saw, so as I said before, I had two ideas. Now I'm going down the way of bias and data. And the problem with bias and data sets is that it gets amplified in AI models. So it's not just it stays the same, but actually these models, they become more biased than the original data sets. So that leads to a real world discrimination by software. And then nobody controls that software anymore. So AI has become really easy. Everybody can kind of do it right now, train their own model, but who keeps them in check? There's nothing really. And then the downside is that business lose opportunities when they use those biased models. So for example, there's this one in banking that loans and credit card discrimination based on gender are lost business opportunities because women are actually faster and better in repayment, but they get discriminated against it. So that's illogic. You know, you're cutting yourself the arm away as a bank. And then if this comes out that actually, for example, in HR, there's bias in hiring decision, well, you're not just suffering reputation damage and maybe even legal fines, but you also don't get the best people if you discriminate against the people that are applying. So that is the problem that I saw. And I mean, I see that it's painful in HR. I think the banking sector is at the moment kind of waking up and realizing that this is a problem. They're not fully aware yet. And some players are doing that by manually cleaning the data, or they just have their own data generation. If they're big companies, they have all the people in-house. They don't need a solution for that. But especially those medium-sized companies that have the data and don't know how to start, or need a lot of help to kind of get in there. So I can maybe jump to that side, who would be my customer segment. So medium-sized companies that want to start with AI or that don't have the people to do the AI completely themselves. And ideally that have already processed data and trained AI models, but they lack the knowledge in the area of bias. So they're already busy, but bias is completely in their blind spot. And then another customer segment that could become interesting are any data security and compliance department, because they're usually concerned about, hey, what is happening with the data? What are we doing? So maybe kind of educate them on bias, that it should be their concern too. And as early adopters, I kind of, while you were talking about a persona, I already started writing. So I think my persona is actually a company. And then of course in the company should be certain people, but this company has to be open to innovation. So they are looking into this big data, AI and so on. And they also ideally should have realized that bias is a problem. So if companies still think bias is no problem, then I will have a hard time convincing them. So probably not focusing on them in the early stage. And well, the solution, I already said it, is to clean those data sets by automatically analyzing them and then creating synthetic data to have the bias corrected. And what that would lead to is that you have, you unlock business opportunities by using these bias-free data sets to train your models. And also I was thinking about having like a seal or a certificate which could communicate security and reliability, so that your customers, like the company's customers, can actually trust your software. So they know when they are your customer, you're not using AI models that's actually discriminating them. So that is another idea. As channels, so it's B2B. I think of it as software as a service. If people are really concerned about privacy and about their data, there could be an on-premise solution there as well. And my unfair advantage is a very large and also diverse network. So diversity and inclusion have been my passion since, I don't know, 2 or 4 years. And I have a lot of knowledge. I also know how discrimination manifests in software and day-to-day transactions. So I have kind of these eyes and other people's eyes to look at this from a very, kind of holistic approach. And if I look at the revenue streams, I would look, as a software as a service, pay-per-use. So charge based on the data volume that is being processed and also the complexity that they try to, or that is necessary to remove the bias. And in the beginning, especially, I'm thinking about doing it more like professional services, so consulting and assistance in future research. And this could also serve as a channel. So I'm getting in touch with people. We have a pilot together. I learned something, they learned something, and this way we build like a customer base and make them loyal customers. And from the last session with Nimrod, he asked me these 3 questions. Like what kind of data sets have the biggest bias, which companies own these data sets, and which companies are suffering from that. And I've been looking a little bit more into that. So there is financial data, medical data, there is all this public administration and police data, and HR. That's the 4 areas that I identified. And the companies, I think the most interesting one would be, as I said, the either fintechs or companies that are already processing data or doing AI models, so data companies themselves. And instead of recruiters, I thought that applicant tracking systems, they're even more interested in having, providing their customers with unbiased kind of references and removing bias through that HR software. So that's kind of where I stand at the moment. And for next steps, if I just scroll down here, so I want to create a pitch deck and get feedback on the pitch deck as well. So I'm probably going to send it around to all of you. I want to post on LinkedIn to get more collaborators on my Miro board. I want to create this one here and then validate the direction that I'm going at the moment. So talk to at least 5 more people. That's what I have so far.
When did we have our call, Karla? When did we talk last?
We had our call on Monday, 2 days ago.
Okay. But anyway, it's amazing the progress and development. If you look at last week's live stream and look at the canvas, I mean, you had so many ideas. It's narrowing down. The canvas is very clear, and now use these to bring it into the deck. Especially your unfair advantage. If you look at the recording of this session now, so once we're done, look again at the recording of how you presented yourself, and make sure to bring it in words on your slides. Now going down to the triangle, basically this is now the focus that you are missing. So now you need to find where a beginning point, because in the canvas you did right, it's very early companies that want to start with AI and so forth. Here you've listed some, and we need to find now a match. We need to find what data sets have the biggest biases and which are the companies that use these data sets. Then those should be the first ones that maybe you target as even just the pilot phases as potential partners. That could be.
Yeah. So in that area, to not just have my gut feeling or my own preference, but actually have spoken with some more people. That's my goal for the next week, to talk to some applicant tracking system people that I know, talk to some fintech people, some AI companies, and really understand, is bias actually a problem for them? Are they already doing something themselves? Are they using own methods, other competitors? And then seeing whether there's a buzz. At the moment, the hugest thing that I see is in financial data and in HR, and there's already in both areas things going on. So I'm not the first one here.
Any other ideas from the other ladies?
Yeah.
Hanna, you did a lot with data.
Yes, actually, I come up with a couple of more people I need to connect with you. But I was thinking about the PII. So I think this could be, let's say, one barrier to get into this, because in some cases people might say we should not touch this at all because there is PII data, personal identifiable information. So this could be one approach to go to a customer and say, are you taking most out of your data? Do you know that we can also mask the data, and we can prepare it so that it's really safe? Because I think this is, people are not clear about how to handle data with PII or companies. So yeah, this could be one criteria. And then I thought, instead of these consultants, there is a big movement of citizen data scientists. So maybe one revenue model could also be that you give your code or you sell your method to the person who wants to do it themselves. So you give the code or sell the code to remove the bias, so to say.
Okay, so let me write that down. So you're talking about open source, and then the other thing was PII. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, about PII, I'm aware that this could be something. That's why I wrote here in the channel about on-premise. So I'm very aware that some companies will not ever let me touch their data unless it's within their own system. So that it needs to be on-premise, and I give them kind of a code, an instance, so they can do it there. And then the idea is exactly what you said, like not just mask, because there has been research that in 99.9% of the data set can be reconstructed from masked data. So you think you have solved the problem. Oh, the sun is bugging me. You think you have solved the problem, but actually you haven't. You just think you are safe, and then you have a security breach with the masked data. So that's why synthetic data comes in. But the on-premise is definitely a selling point. If I don't have that, half of the companies probably will not consider it. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, but I think you also have your person, it's self, Karla. You are really trustworthy. So I would not hesitate if I think about the other guys that I'm dealing with and try to come in and sell things. I think I would choose you. You are female. You are very trustworthy. You have this mission that you think bias should not, let's say, amplify the AI, like you say. So I think you should also put yourself as a person more in the pitch deck.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Yes, for us at the Accelerator Frankfurt, we've always asked the companies that we've accepted if they have an on-premise solution, because the main clients we connect them with are financial institutions. But I must say that in the last year, it has been changing. And I've seen companies, startups, well-funded ones that simply refuse to go to the on-premise thing. It's either this or nothing. They're not so in a hurry to get the clients. But at the end of the day, I did like what Hanna mentioned. You sell the code. It's a SaaS. You sell the code and let them run it. And this is a huge advantage, because the large corporates are hesitant always of letting some outsider deal with their own proprietary data, no matter how safe it is. But if you just give them the tool and let them themselves use it, this could be a huge advantage to overcome that barrier.
Mhm.
Agree? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, and I got some good feedback. I know you had a couple of calls already with some of the banks that I connected you, and hope it's somewhat helpful. At the moment, you're early stage, but it's just collecting the feedback, not trying to sell yet. Right?
No, that's definitely true. And then one very interesting insight was for me that one person actually said like they don't see a problem with bias. Like as a bank, if I know that another person is already 80, I'm not going to give them a credit for I don't know 10 years, because that's huge risk. You wouldn't do that. So I think that that's again like sharpening my view for where are the areas where bias is actually everybody agrees that is bad. And I think in HR everybody agrees that is bad. In banking, with age, and sometimes with, or in insurances with gender, it's even legally allowed to discriminate against those things. So maybe there's not even such a big demand for removing bias there, but in other areas. So it was super, super insightful to have very challenging views. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm in my bias bubble, so somebody bursted, and now I have a better view of the market.
Very good.
Just as a quick comment on the insurance side, gender neutral regulation came into force some X number of years ago. So there, the gender is no more allowed, kind of risk definition.
Yeah, in Germany, I think it was only 3 years ago when they finally removed it. So it's getting there.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes, Karla, for your deck, you should have then the focus. So that I think will be the biggest job you have now, is to identify that industry, the market you're looking at, just as the beginning. Okay, it can always expand later, but focus first. Very good. I think we have half an hour left, and we've been talking now about the pitch deck, and you've seen pitch decks all over. We didn't even talk about the presenting and the pitching and so forth. We will do that before demo day. But for now, building the deck, I've shared with you on our Slack channel this video from Simon Sinek. Just for our viewers, I will share. I'm going to play the first 3 minutes of it on the why, and then we'll take a short discussion over it. So let me just share my screen here. You see it? Yeah. Okay.
Is it possible to get the audio as well?
Hold on. You can't hear? You couldn't hear?
No.
Okay, good. Thanks for mentioning that. Let's see. Stop share. Okay. Share. Why wasn't there an audio?
I think if you share screen, you can select share also the audio. Share
Okay,
computer
here.
sound on the
Computer. Okay, now.
bottom left.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just start this again. And apologies for that. Share. Okay, you can see my screen?
No.
You're showing computer sound. Stop again. Share. Here you go. Okay. Now it should go. Just give me the thumbs up if you hear, okay?
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple or a
Okay, I recommend you watch the whole thing because he talked about Martin Luther King, about the Wright brothers, and how the small individual managed to achieve great things against the large, high-budget corporates, for example. And we had a discussion. I don't remember if it was with you, Karla. How will you compete against Google or whatever? What we as startups have, or as entrepreneurs have, that the large organizations don't, is that we can shape our why. And hopefully when we work, actually when Miia and I choose the entrepreneurs we work with, we have the luxury of really choosing entrepreneurs with deep whys at the end of the day. I told you about my story on surfing. And the biggest learning is that I loved to surround myself with passionate people. That's it. And that has defined all my life. And this is what I do. I surround myself with passionate people every single day. I look forward to the Wednesdays with you, and through when it's the other days of the week, I work with entrepreneurs, with passionate entrepreneurs, and that defined what Maria and I have come together with a mission statement of Accelerator Frankfurt. I don't know if you know it, but you can look it up in the website. We believe that change in business can only happen with passionate people. We attract those people and help them grow. Even Steve Jobs said it, that change in business, you can only do great things if you love what you do. So there's always these whys, and that is our why. We believe change in business can only happen with passionate people. Our how is we bring them together. And our what is we help them grow. So you see, the accelerator has its why, and we shaped our message along these lines. And I'm sure you've already thought about it, but think about it even deeper and try to bring it out in your pitch decks of why at the end of the day. And some touching stories. What was it, you, Karla, I think, that touched me? Perhaps that the Apple thing, you know, that they gave less credit to women than to men. And that really pissed you off. But you have a deeper meaning to it down there. So I cannot come up with your whys, but you all have it because you wouldn't be in this group had you not have it. And there's many wannabe entrepreneurs, and you immediately catch that they don't have. Do you want to give a short? I don't need now the sentence, but tell me why. What is your why? Let's start with Hanna.
Yes, so I'm really confused when I go to the supermarket and I cannot choose the best option for this planet. So my family, we already changed the diet. We become almost vegetarian. We try to look at the certificates and be sure that we don't use the Finnish wood or the Amazonas when we go to the toilet. And I'm all the time challenged with these options. I don't know what is the best. And I mean, my daughter is now, yeah, my daughter is 14. They go to the Fridays for Future, and they say that why should they go to school because there will not be any planet tomorrow. And you just have to do something because I come from Finland. We love nature, and these values are so important. I like recycled clothes. It's just a habit. So I tried different things and see where can I create impact and.
But the biggest thing that touched me is that as a mother, you want the best for the future of your children. You know, you said it, your children, they don't understand why they should go to school, you know. I don't, but as a mother, that's your why, as a mother, and you care about the earth and the future of the children. So very, very, very good. And you will come eventually with the sentence. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think,
Maybe
yeah,
just
yeah.
one
Please.
small addition. We talked with Anu about the surfing, so the wave, and Anu said it pretty well. So now the EU Green Deal and all the regulations coming, that this is actually my wave. So Anu said that I have to be paddling, and when the wave comes, I have to be ready. So Sean said it too. So we also have the wave. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, but because I think it's really, you when you think about, you know, your why, is also that it should be something that is And it probably is, if it's a real why. It's not only important for you, it's important for many people, and it's probably important for investors, it's important for people who use it. So there is the why, why you use it. It's not, because it has a nice wrapping around it, but it's the real essence of whatever it is that what you're doing. So that's a good one. Perfect way.
Yeah, that's what I realized too. If you start talking about your why, people immediately connect with you. That's really amazing. Since I started telling my why first and then all the details, and people become so passionate, like, oh my God, I just told you what I'm doing for my job, So that's really fascinating how people connect with the why.
And what would be your why?
Yeah, for me, it's what I wrote there, that I believe that software should be enabling our human potential. Just give us everything that we need to make our lives easier, instead of cutting us down, discriminating us, pulling barriers in between. So yeah, I think software should be for good, for the benefit of the people.
Very nice. Very good. And yeah, you're all just jumping into the water now. And as surfers, we hope that the perfect wave will come. So surf a few waves, fall, maybe okay waves, but you're getting there, and the perfect wave will come. If you want to see perfect waves, last week was a huge storm in the Atlantic, and it hit the coast of Portugal. And it's all over YouTube. You can check it out. A friend of mine sent me some videos. It was amazing. Anyway, Anu, and your why?
My why? I've been working in the finance industry and insurance industry for nearly 20 years. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about making sure that people understand what their decisions, they are prepared, they protect themselves. I've been spending a lot of my time in kind of making kind of positive claims decisions for people, trying to find the reasoning why to pay a claim, not why to deny a claim, because the process of paying claims needs to be fair. You can't just pay to everybody, because people have bought the insurances based on the terms and conditions, and the kind of the insurance premium is based on the assumption that certain things are covered, certain are not. So it needs to be fair also to everybody who's paid the premium, that in case they get ill or they get unemployed, they get the similar benefit. But I've spent a lot of time in looking at people's situations where they've suffered a lot due to different things, and making sure that, are they covered, are they not? And I've been really making a lot of effort in making sure that wherever I could, they were covered. But what struck me as the most is that people do not really understand that well what they have bought, what they have chosen, and they have misunderstood often their coverages, or they have not really understood the risks that they are not covering themselves for. So there have been a number of foreclosures where people got unemployed, or divorce, whatever, and the house, they didn't have the money to pay the electricity, the plumbs broke down, and the whole house is actually worthless, and they are stuck with the loans and everything. So my kind of why is really to ensure that people understand their financial risks, they prepare them for those, take an insurance if they need it. Not everybody needs it, but if they need it, they will cover themselves for that, and they will be able to enable the cover that they need for themselves, not that what someone else decided for them.
So maybe, Anne, what you, when you think about it, it's your why is you want people to not have sleepless nights. You want them to to feel safe about their future. I think that's it's a really big why, because nobody, I mean, I think if anyone, even me, who's a very risk tolerant person, I think I would have some sleepless nights if I would know that there is like something unexpected would happen and I would risk losing my house. I think that so I think the important is to try to make it more personal, maybe make it more real and concrete, the why, because now it sounds a bit like very controlled and very but like I want to let people sleep their nights and not worry about getting sick or divorced, or that they can have somewhere safe place to sleep or whatever it is.
Anu, you're a mother of 4. You have a very big why. I
Yes.
would say, sleepless nights, providing for your family. I think that connects with many people, especially if you're a single income household and stuff like that. So very, very important. And there the why would come out. And then you can go on the how and the what.
So maybe I have a comment here as well, Anu, as a mother to 3 kids. When would I have time, to understand the insurance? Because I can completely relate. It's so complicated. Somebody sells to you, you feel that, okay, they sell me something. Do I need it? Do I not? But I don't have time to find out.
What we have been designing so far is that when basically you're taking out a loan, we would offer a guided online experience where you will get those risks explained risks to you, like through questions like, what happened, how congratulations on your mortgage, a new house, have you considered what to do if you become unemployed, how do you pay your installments, and then kind of building that type of gamification assisted in a way journey for the customer to actually go through that. They're not just happily decorating their new home, they're also thinking of, okay, I'm a single mother, for instance, how do I pay if I become unemployed? Because people very often, especially in Finland, which is one of the best supported countries for social security, but people overestimate their income that they get. So what we have planned is to show that with your salary levels, this is what you would get for kind of unemployment benefits. This is how you drop to kind of basic support after 3 months, for instance, of being in a longer term sick leave. So this is to show the risks. What does it mean with your salary level? Where do you actually get the money to pay your loan, to stay in your house, and to let you concentrate on getting well, not being concerned about where to get the money to pay the mortgage. So this is kind of, this is what we've been building for as a sales channel.
Very good. Very good. So Miia, what is your why?
Rich life. Because like Ram mentioned, I also want to surround myself with passionate and inspired people. And I believe that inspiration comes from experiences. If you never go outside your home, you're not getting any inspiration that doesn't feed that. And it leads to like a situation where nothing kind of like fires you up and feeds your passion. So we want to give a tool for people to influence the culture and event landscape, and basically help people to live rich life experience-wise. Because we people, we have the natural need to share experiences and get together and meet each other, and kind of like in a way also live in our own bubbles and spend time with people who get us. So through our platform, we believe that we are able to find all those cultural experiences that people want to experience, and then share that with others like-minded.
Amazing. So I think we have certainly shown that there is a lot of power in you ladies, and that you can help to bring the power, empower people, so to say. And Ram, the last parts.
No, I actually, Miia, going back to you, I think that if an event is successful through a crowdsourcing started by a single person, for example, the experience will be so much more strong. You saw it, for example, in the video that I said these 1,000 rocks. At the end of the day, let's say if I want to bring my favorite band to town, and I managed to raise the money to bring the artist, it's not I did it alone. We all did it, the whole crowd, and it becomes such. I can imagine the experience will be 10,000 times the experience of buying a ticket to go see Iron Maiden. You know, but what if we all did it together and brought Iron Maiden to town, for example? I think we'll be family instantly without knowing anybody. Anybody in that stadium is family because we did it together, you know, and that it's the power of that is amazing. Do you see what I get? What I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And then it's also like people are attracted by the people who kind of like are similar to me. That's how we people work. So it's also important to find those places where we can share the energy with the people. Like for instance, to me, it's the electronic music. I really like, I can live 10 years more when I get this experience that the bass is like so strong that you can feel it in your body and you feel everybody dancing to the same music. And with my husband, we met at the club, we got engaged at the club, and then we even partied our wedding at the club. So it's really like important for us that
that's a strong why for sure. But we'll do an electronic party where everybody can get a PPI insurance, and the party will be fully sustainable in the circular economy and unbiased data. We have a company. Very good. Okay, we just to finalize on the pitch deck. So on the Slack also I shared the Guy Kawasaki. Basically, the only 10 slides you'll ever need in your pitch. I wonder if you see it. Can you see my screen? Yes, right? Okay. I really recommend you search Guy Kawasaki on Spotify because there are some pretty good podcasts there. The latest ones I've listened to was Sean Thompson. Sean Thompson was surfing world champion in 1978. He was a Jewish kid from South Africa. And he wrote an amazing book, which I got for my birthday from Maria, 12 Rules. I think it was called just 12 Rules, because 12 Rules for Life is a different book, which I also like. Check out that podcast. I highly recommend it. It's amazing how they talk both about entrepreneurship, about the passion of surfing, and how surfing has taught Sean Thompson to live life. And then there's also a few other podcasts about Guy Kawasaki speaking about entrepreneurship. So it's very good material.
I absolutely this guy's personal story, like how his family came to America and like
yeah. Maria and I met him in person, actually. I think I have a picture somewhere in, I'll put it on Slack. It's on my Facebook page. 2 years ago, he was in Frankfurt and we had the pleasure of meeting the guy. So that was pretty cool, I have to say. We also met Sheryl Sandberg, who was with him at the same time from Facebook. But going back to this, to the slides, here you have to now first work really on the content. Forget the visual at the moment. And the content comes a lot from everything we've talked and brainstormed a little bit, from your canvases, really describing the problem. And you should have, I would say, maybe 3 pitch decks. One will be for presenting, if you're presenting in the demo day, have a pitch deck with very, very little text, as little as possible. Even sometimes just pictures speak 1,000 words, you know. And this is purely, well, now we're doing it online, but when you're on stage, you know, or even online, people either read or listen. They don't do the same two things at the same time. So really maximum 10 words a slide. And if we're doing a 5-minute pitch in the demo day, you can take it as a rule of thumb, 1 slide per minute. But it's just an average. It could be more, it could be less. So that would be your first deck. But the first deck is not where you start. I think the starting point will be just a full deck, all the words, everything there. And these are the investor deck at the end of the day. So the investor decks, there's a long one and a short one. The short one should be something that you can send out without NDAs, something that can be shared and distributed, because you do need to reach as many people as possible. And then the long deck would be shared once you're proceeding to the next steps. And a long deck, I would never recommend emailing. First, present it yourself, and then you can email it to the participants. So if we start now with a long deck, and then you can cut whatever is needed. But in your case also, because it's early stage, maybe you can't fill all the slides. So the problem and value proposition you all fully understand, can fully fill. And here is also where a little bit your whys should come out. You know, what is the problem and why is it worth solving? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then the underlying magic is a bit the how. How are you going to solve it? What's the plan? Not really the plan comes in a little bit of the accomplishment timeline, but how will you solve it? You're going to sell. We're going to sell a code to the companies, for example, to help them with their unbiased data.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
At the pitch day in December, how many minutes will we have?
5.
Okay.
5 minutes. You can even present shorter, not longer. And I would say for anybody, it's very important, the Q&A. So we will invite some people, and you will have to answer 3 minutes Q&A. This is where you show who you really are, and how you answer, and are you stubborn or are you open to feedback? And you can see a lot on the Q&A. So we should also prepare a bit for that. But don't worry about it as of yet. Let's do step by step. So business model, we all understand how to make money. What's your business model? What's your go-to-market? The competitive analysis. Have a look who's there, who's out there, and the management team. We talked about it. This is to establish some sort of trust, some sort of credibility. And you can look at the recordings of our sessions and start writing down, taking notes. Maybe somebody said something that is useful for you. Some financial projections, key metrics. At the end of the day, the investors want to see how are you going to use the money that you're asking for. You're not just asking money for the fun of it, but you know, you're asking money to make good use of it. And then what is your current status? This is the traction. Many people here get lost. If you don't have any clients, don't have even a product, how can you show any traction? But you can always show something, you know. Your first traction has been, or one of the tractions, you got accepted to the Accelerator Frankfurt. And it is, we have a lot of applications and not everybody gets accepted. So that's an accomplishment. You're here and you've participated in these 3 months program. What did you accomplish? Perhaps you've built already a prototype and stuff like that. So you can show these accomplishments, not necessarily clients, but that you are getting things done. You are making progress. So start working on these. We won't share them yet online on the streams or anything like that. We can do this offline, but don't leave it to last minute. So once you have something, shoot me a message on Slack or put it on our Slack for the others to see, and we'll take it then. Any final questions? Let me just stop the sharing here. Questions? Something?
Cool. So any last minute or final ideas, feelings from today's session?
Good. So we're almost so we're ready to go. Next week, feel free to invite everybody to this call, because we will have the deep work studio session. It's good to have as many people as possible involved. We'll also meet a bit of your other people, but at the end of the day, you lead the sessions, okay? The 4 of you, so we don't get too confused with too many people around. But feel free to invite them. Thank you very much, Maria. Final words, and we go to commercials.
Yeah, no, not really many words, but yes. So I think for the next week workshop, so it's good to have several people that you've been working with, because then the deep work session, so then they can contribute and you can get the most out of it. So that was the only reason.
Should all know Miro.
So yeah, exactly. So they're using Miro, the same tool that you've been using. So. Excellent. So thank you, everybody. Anyone listening, wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot about your startups this time, and stay tuned. Next week, we back, same time as today. Bye.